Ms. Oge, indirect land use and its definition has generated a great deal of concern for the biodiesel industry. In the notice of proposed rulemaking, EPA seems to treat indirect land use and international indirect land use equally. In the Energy Independence and Security Act of 2007, was it explicit that they are indeed the same?
That's a very important question. Okay. A very important question, Chairwoman. Clearly, the statute requires us to look at all steps from planting the feedstock all the way to the time that the consumer uses this fuel. And in doing that, the statute is specific in requiring both direct and indirect significant impacts, including land use. So there is absolutely no question to EPA's legal office that we must evaluate both direct and indirect significant land use domestically and internationally.
Well, what was your basis for including the international indirect land use in the greenhouse gas calculations?
The basis is that if you look at the profile of a life cycle of a renewable fuel, let's say biodiesel, the most significant impact of this life cycle is the land use, and the most significant impact of the land use is the international land use. It's 70 to 80% of the life cycle impact. So not including it, you will have two problems. One, you would not be consistent with the statutory requirements of VISA, and second, you would have scientifically a less accurate greenhouse gas profile for renewable fuels because you would be excluding the most significant impact.
70% of the impact is international?
For biodiesel, it's about 70%, yes.
Okay. I guess sometimes the question is the indirect costs as we're looking at oil-based fuels. And are we really looking at this in the same light?
We have used the same boundaries in looking at the baseline, which is the 2005 baseline for gasoline and diesel fuel is required in the statute, and the same boundaries for looking on the life cycle analysis of renewable fuels. So we're using the same boundaries. For example, when we look at petroleum fuel to estimate the baseline, we're not including the energy that it took to produce the trucks that move fuel from, diesel or gasoline fuel from extraction to the port to be shipped to the United States. The same thing with biofuels. We're not looking at the energy that it took to build the tractors. But what we do for petroleum, for example, we do take a look at the energy that it took to extract petroleum from Nigeria, of South Arabia, and the energy that it took for the major life cycle components to bring it to the United States. So we believe that we have used the same boundaries and the same approach, evaluating the baseline of diesel and gasoline, and then comparing it to the renewable fuels.
And so if the petroleum is coming from Canada, for example, it's coming from the sand, what's the term I'm looking for, the Canadian sand?
Yes.
Are you using that as part of your
Again, we're looking at the 2005, the baseline for what percent the baseline included tar sands, and if it's part of that baseline, then it will be included. But again, we're looking at the 2005 baseline for petroleum is required by statute, and then we're looking at the 2022 profile for greenhouse gas emissions from renewable fuels, which allows us to actually improve the life cycle profile of renewable fuels for a number of reasons. First of all, we are assuming, based on USDA's input, that the yield of biofuels will be much more significant of feedstocks, such as soy or corn, in 2022 than it is today. So you will require less land. Second, we have incorporated improvements in the production facility of these renewable fuels in 2022, which again reduces the energy and improves the life cycle. So that's basically how we have done the analysis that has been extensively laid out in our proposal. And again, we're seeking the public dialogue and public comments.
Okay, thank you. My time's almost up, but I wanted to ask Ms. Cook a question. On May 5th, President Obama announced plans for an interagency biofuels interagency working group. This group will require USDA, DOE, EPA to work closely together on the biofuels issues. Do you think collaboration between these three agencies will result in a final rule that the biofuels industry can embrace?
Speculation, of course, but yes, the President directed the Secretaries of Energy, Agriculture, and the Administrator of EPA to jointly co-chair this new interagency working group. Clearly, it's his intent that his administration speak with one voice and get to a common position, so I know we're going to work hard on that. We're still putting the working group together. The three principals will be the people who are on the working group, so we're trying to coordinate schedules and get that put together.
What role do you see this working group playing in the future of the biofuels debate?
As much a coordinating role as anything. Even within USDA, Secretary Vilsack has reissued his Energy Coordinating Council. Renewable energy are rowing in the same direction. The same is true across agencies between Ag and Energy and certainly with EPA.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to now recognize the ranking member, Mr. Westmoreland. My tongue tied today, and I'll give you extra time that I took. Thank you.